because what I did was I finished recording a couple hours ago and then left my camera running. I've got a pretty big storage card in it, so that's not an issue. It's just the fact that I've got this gigantic file now. Anyway, this is a pretty day. We are September 18th. Kind of a cool, cloudy day. It's probably up to about 65 now. It was 30, in the 30s when I left this morning from Craig. I just headed up to Steamboat. It's about noon right now. 11:58. So, there's road construction going on between Craig and Hayden. There's road construction going on in Hayden, and there's also road construction going on a typical bypass that I usually take. So I do believe that we're going to do a little bit of a 131 run this morning. And maybe this is a good time to do it. It's actually getting pretty. These leaves are changing like before my eyes. I would bet you, of course, the camera would be in a different location. I mean, we'd be looking at it from the other direction. But I drove about an hour, maybe 90 minutes ago, I drove up this road from the other end. And it wasn't as fall looking as it is. It is coming on fast, my friends. Fall is really coming on. Made the point of noticing that we're a couple weeks ahead of schedule. It seems like we've jumped ahead as far as the cold temperatures in the morning. So, and I understand that the global warming people are crying and bullshitting, trying to bullshit everyone about the globe overheating. Well, for those that want to believe it, it's out there to listen to. You can be scared about that all you want, but it's bullshit. And someday, those people that are scared today and are making waves about it are going to be looking back going, we were full of crap. We were misled badly. And people tried to tell us, and we called those people that tried to tell us white supremacists. Why did we do that? The answer, of course, is that they are useful idiots for the left. They won't ever understand that, though. But yeah, I'm liking that. I think so I'm on what's called the River Road. I can't think of what county road it is, but it follows it's on the south side of the Yampa River through town, and it's just a nice way to get out of town. By the way, check that cool barn out. It's a shame, but that barn is falling apart. I really can't imagine that here in Steamboat, people are letting that big barn fall apart. When Steamboat, its reputation, right, is that stuff like that. I mean, it's the cowboy capital, right? Or are they changing that? I don't really know. I wonder. The oak brush is really turning. I mean, it's beautiful right now. I am having to take, oh yeah, you guys, while I'm stuck here and having to go to Oak Creek anyway, there is a road that I used to take out here. This is a great little drive. Even though it's early fall, we can catch some of the early colors. It is It's a gorgeous, gorgeous drive. Local Steamboat drive. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and take that. My route has changed. I haven't been on this route for over a year, this particular road. I've been near it, but thinking of the river road, yeah, I do like that. I can swing into Oak Creek, and then we can get back home, and I will miss all the road construction that I'm aware of. Hopefully not end up in more road construction, although that could happen. I have to go around. Yeah, this is cool. I kind of here. There we go. Should work. So we're heading down 131. The last time I recall being on this section of road was in the middle of a snowstorm about 5 or 6 months ago. And I think I titled that video, and I'm talking about filming, the snowy 131. And it was a snowy drive. Today is going to be a lot different, but I'm not going to stay on 131. In fact, we're going to jump off of it pretty quickly onto a road that we would not have been able to go on a few months ago. And while I'm having to dodge the road construction and get down to Oak Creek, I might as well film this. And it's really pretty over here, y'all, so you'll like it. You know, the thought's been on my mind. I look at the comments on my channel, and I get a lot of comments, and I love it. I'm glad. I appreciate every one of them, y'all. I even don't mind the cranky comments. They're quite interesting. One comment this weekend was somebody saying, "You sure yak a lot, but I like it," which was nice of them to say that. And they're right, I do yak a lot. And my choices, and I've talked about it before, I could play music on this channel. I could record road noise on sled road. I mean, it's been done, and it's nice. It's not bad. And I've tried recording road noise, but I was unhappy with the results that I got. And I decided, well, you know what? Maybe talking isn't such a bad thing to do, especially because people really do need to stand up for their rights anymore. You've got to. I'm understanding that more and more as time goes by. If people remain silent and sit on their hands, the left will just continue walking over us, which is what they've been doing for the last several years. Let me flush that point out. The environmental movement of the 70s was probably started, or it had as a certain amount of the people that were concerned about the environment, actually concerned about it, there were a certain amount of people involved, but the actual reason that the environmental movement started in the 60s, Earth Day and all that stuff, had nothing to do with the environment. Absolutely nothing. The people that started that could give a crap about the environment. They don't care if they do not care if dirt's blowing everywhere. They don't care if there's puddles of chemicals and oil everywhere. They don't care if the trash piles up. They do not care. What they cared about, the people that actually started it, not the people that went along with it, because we all went along with it. It was at that time a reasonable premise. But the people that started it wanted to do one thing. They wanted to make it painful for industry in the United States, and for that matter in the West. They wanted to make it so painful that industry, including manufacturing, oil, gas, agriculture, ranching, everything, industry, everything, they wanted to make it so painful that people stopped. They wanted to raise the price of it. They wanted to make it difficult. They wanted to put government roadblocks in the way, and they've very successfully done that. And what is their end? Well, I think I've said that. They want to shut industry down. They cannot compete. They, being the communists that have been working against our country for over a century at this point. Pretty Lake, by the way, Lake Catamount. These people could give a shit about this. This view wouldn't mean anything to them. Unless they owned it and they could keep us off of it. What happened in the States and what happened around the world was extremely disappointing for these people. And that was, regular people got involved. Regular people said, you know what? It is crappy to have trash flying around the road. And we probably don't want, sludge and chemical waste dumped into our rivers and our lakes. And we probably don't want power plants to spew out acid rain or whatever it might be. And so our society took that at face value, right? The society did, and we changed. And we have got, if not the cleanest country in the world today, one of the cleanest. I think we beat out all of the European countries, for sure. But we did that. We saw that, yes, we could probably clean this country up, and we have. Look how beautiful this place is. I mean, it is gorgeous. So for the people, for the citizens of our country, and for the countries that have cleaned themselves up, it's a great thing. But for the communists who were just trying to shut industry down, it was disappointing. Although they did get a lot of the industry shut down, but they're still working on that. That's why climate change is their latest attack. And they feel the same way about climate change. They know it's not true. And if it were true, they would not give a shit. They don't care. They don't care about this stuff. They do absolutely not care if the climate is frozen or not. What they care about is putting communism in place and taking power from us. And that's what they've been doing. So when I get on this channel and talk, understanding I have to talk about something, it's making more sense to me. It's clear that I probably should talk about politics, because we need everyone that agrees with my opinion, which is most people in this country, by the way. The vast majority of this country are conservatives, like I am. I am not an outrider. I am a regular person. I have regular views. I don't have extremist views. But that's how we're painted, right? But we have to stand up, and we are standing up. And I'm seeing that even Canada, People in Canada are starting to stand up, but they've been under attack a little bit longer and a little more severely than we have been. By the way, I don't know what this county road is. I usually am pretty good about telling you. Maybe I can backfill that information looking in my mirror. County Road 18, okay. But we're going to turn here. If we would have gone right, we would be on County Road 14. Now that goes to some subdivisions. It will get you to Stagecoach. County Road 18. Unless they're doing road work down here, we should be able to get through. Last time I was here, I actually had to turn around, but it was closed for the winter. So the reason that I talk about climate change and that I talk about the politics I do is because we've got to stand up. What we have been doing is not working. What we have been doing is we have been relying on the government. We've been trying to send people to Washington to make changes, to effect changes, and they're not doing that. They're done working for us. They work for themselves. Look at what the politicians have done. The Uniparty is trying to get rid of Trump. Trump is the only one out there that is actually like us. And they hate that, the Uniparty. The left hates that. And the left basically controls the Uniparty. And look at what governors have done. Well, think about what happened in COVID. Lockdowns were unconstitutional. The mask mandates are unconstitutional. You notice how the government enlisted private industry to push their agenda. By the way, that is the textbook term of fascism. When the government pairs up with industry, with business, to rule over their populace, that's fascism. These people are fascists. It's a funny thing to say, too, because usually when you hear the word fascist, it's a leftist screaming it about somebody on the right. Absolutely not true, but that's where you hear it all the time. So what we have done is working, but what we are doing now seems to be making a difference. But we'll see. We have an election that we need to win. It's nice to see that in a lot of states they've shut the loopholes down. Not all of them. There's still a whole lot of corruption going on out there. But it is slowly moving our direction, the conservatives' direction, taking it back, taking power back. What the climate change people did this summer by over the top screaming about the climate, the boiling climate, the wildfires that didn't exist ever. I mean, basically they were just recharacterizing summer as this horrible season in hell, right? And I know people I like that buy this bullshit. Intelligent people. It's not a matter of intelligence, it's a matter of belief. So that's just how it is. So this is the cool road I'm talking about. This is County Road 18. Anyway, we have got to, and we are, people are everywhere standing up, to this stuff. What happened in New Mexico last week with the governor just arbitrarily dismissing the Constitution and then having the balls to say the Constitution, well, it's not the end. It's not the end all. I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I mean. Her point was, I have emergency powers anytime I want. I can put the Constitution aside, and she used what happened during COVID as an example, which, by the way, was unconstitutional. But she's using that as her argument. And here's the deal about that. If you have property and you have an easement and your neighbor uses your easement, and they use it for years and years, and you never say anything. You're just a friendly neighbor. One of these days, that neighbor can go down to the courthouse and claim that property for their own. That is a legal precedent. What the left is doing is the same thing. They are moving in to this easement, which used to be what our Constitution was. They are putting their philosophy in place of what was formerly our Constitution. And if we don't say anything about it, it's going to be just like that. So you have to understand that's what they're doing and why they're doing it. And the whole point of it is to destroy the West so communism will look better. That's the whole point of this. Communism cannot compete with the West. Why do you think China steals everything from us to manufacture, including stealing our manufacturing? They can't compete. They don't have the mindset for it. They're not stupid, but communism is a strange philosophy. It's a godless philosophy, and it cripples people. It's very bizarre. It cripples their creativity until it comes to evil stuff, and they're certainly completely creative. What pretty red plants are those? Berries. Are those raspberries? No, those aren't raspberries. They're just really dark, pretty red berries. Unless raspberry trees have been invented and the berries are now round. So now we are alongside the Yampa River again. It's a little bit smaller up here. It is coming out of a reservoir. There's a dam up here. It's actually a hydro. So it's pretty cool. You'll see a little bit of it. Well, maybe. No, probably not. I don't think I could have a vehicle in there. Get back to my little thing here. Some pretty country here. We have allowed the politicians to do that. They're moving in to this easement, so to speak, and they are planting their flag there. And at some point in time, and I think that's what the governor of Mexico was up to. I think she was trying to pull off the easement. I'm gonna own this easement. And my excuse is that we got away with it during COVID. So I'm now owning this. What she wants to own is she wants to own the ability to, through a public safety plea or cry or decree, shut down the Constitution. You know, if there's an emergency, shut the Constitution down. Obviously, we know what happens. Well, I was going to say every time there's an emergency. The problem is there will always be an emergency. We will be in a perpetual state of emergency, a whole lot like 1984. Exactly, probably like 1984. And that's how they will bring communism in completely. Say, well, we can't use the Constitution today because it's an emergency. What about tomorrow? Well, we'll see. What about the next day? We'll see. Obviously, they're going to take power and they're going to grab onto it forever. That's their whole goal. And it happened, I mean, this was happening before I was born. The communists were working. Ooh, I like that log. It's just too big. I'm looking for a nice, big, thick log like that with very few cracks, very few radial cracks. I'll keep looking. So, to bring it all back to, I do talk a lot, and I have decided that as much, I don't really like to talk about political stuff, but we need to. We need to talk about it. We need to carve out our support where we can. We need to push back where we can. What happened in New Mexico was great because the gun owners immediately got together, went to a public park, and said, hell no. And the cops didn't bother him. Now the governor, well, she says she rescinded her order. That's quite bullshitty, by the way. What she did, she just changed it. She said, okay, well, we're going to stop this order. We're just going to do this. We're just going to put this order in place at playgrounds and at parks. And you know what she's doing? She's trying to act like she is really concerned for children's safety. And that's why she's going to keep this order only in parks and playgrounds. Well, it's still the same. It's the same damage to the Constitution. That doesn't change. It's just that she's changing her Trojan horse a little bit. But to agree with her, one would have to, yeah, this is kind of an angular area here. To agree with her philosophy, one would have to make the assumption that legal gun owners are doing drive-by shooting, legal gun owners and honest citizens are doing drive-by shootings and shooting children in New Mexico. It is completely untrue. Half of these deaths that she's trying to pin on guns are suicides. The other half are gang-related, drug-related. They're not what you would call people that support the Second Amendment in a legal, constitutional way. They're criminals. And as such, they're not going to do anything the governor says, and the governor knows that. I mean, she is playing a game. I'm so glad that the people in Albuquerque stood up. I hope they continue standing up, and there are several lawsuits that are getting filed against her. That's great. But that's why we have got to talk about politics. And yes, I talk about it a lot. And I make people mad. My people in my family I know a couple of them that might get cranky with me. But what is my choice? These are my beliefs, not only my beliefs, but the majority of this country's beliefs. What do we do? Do we stand by and be polite and not let our opinion be known so that the left can continue taking away the power just the way they've been doing? Look what they've done in the last 6 years with the First Amendment. Oh man, I don't have a clue how a deer would get hit on this road. I am assuming that deer might have just died on this road because people don't haul ass on this road. Oh, by the way, if you notice, it's beautiful out here. Oh man, that's beautiful. That mountainside, the Oak Creek and the aspens, everything is just, this is early fall and it's gorgeous. This place gets to be astoundingly beautiful in a few weeks. I probably won't be back, but who knows? I mean, it is fall. The highway departments are probably a little bit panicked because they see what's happening with the weather. They see it's cooling off quick, and it's been a cooler than usual year. So they may not have much time left to get road work done. Anyway, I thought it might be interesting to talk about that a little bit, to let you know why. In case you don't know why it is, I've decided that as much as I dislike talking about politics, it's kind of my duty. As a conservative, I'd rather not. I'd rather send somebody to Washington that takes care of business that I could trust. But you can see where that's gotten us. So, and my sister Sue, she vacillates in between talking about politics and not, and I understand, because sometimes it's just a real downer, to use a 70s term, to talk about politics. And sometimes the subject is just, you feel dirty. Like, yep, my hands are dirty thinking about this stuff. And so she likes to just chit chat. And I will say this too, there are a lot of people that do driving and talking things, and a lot of people will just chit chat. And a lot of people that just chit chat are trying to make money on YouTube. And for starters, I'm not accusing anyone. Well, maybe I am, but I'm not accusing my sister of that. Maybe I should, but no, I'm kidding. I used to watch her channel. It's very cool. Woman at the Wheel. But obviously, we all know YouTube is not a fair company when it comes to politics. We know that they are on the left and that they helped in 2022, in 2020, they started in 2019, censoring people, including my other channel, where I never talked about politics. I just built things. I mean, there was no point in talking about politics. I'm building stuff. Relatively rough channel. I had 5,000 subscribers, a little bit more. I still have almost 5,000 subscribers on that channel called Old Town, where I build things. If you're interested in it, I can link a couple videos or something, let me know. I still add content to Old Town, but I was growing really, really steeply in 2019. And there were rumors from people that talked about politics that YouTube was going to shut a bunch of people down. And I'll be damned if I wasn't one of the people they shut down. I was growing. I was getting, at that time, like 10,000 views a day or more. I mean, I was shooting up there, and they cut me off. They just cut me off at the knees or the waist or whatever. Completely killed me. I went from over 10,000 views a day to under 100 views a day. So that rock wall that we're looking at, you can kind of see, I kind of hate to kind of push it this way. You can see a canyon on both sides, all that nice, I believe it's granite. The river's down in the bottom of that. That's a steep canyon. And up that really steep canyon where it starts is where they built the dam, which makes really good sense. They built a dam for the reservoir that we are going to see next. And while this road is kind of rough, I've seen it a lot worse. It's actually pretty decent. So here I was, an apolitical person, I was just putting videos of building things, neat stuff, things I think are neat, out on YouTube, and YouTube shut me down like I was a right-wing extremist. And I'd never made any, I'll take that back. I made one comment on one video that I'm a little annoyed when people badger me about using the imperial measurements that we use in the United States, because that's what I grew up with. I'm familiar. So I'm familiar with that system. So I made a comment that I'm not really that fond of the metric system, but a big reason that I'm not that fond of it is because I don't really have that many measuring devices that measure that, right? So, I hope you can see that. Let's see if I can get over here a little bit. I don't think you can see it. There's a road down there that I can't take. They've shut it off. But that's where the hydro is, the dam. I might be able to, well, we'll see what I can do to get away from these washboards. That's certainly something I can do. So I'm kind of coming from that area where I was attacked for absolutely no reason other than being a white guy building something. That is apparently offensive. Well, if you think about it, if you think why the left is doing what they're doing, it makes perfect sense. They are trying to shut industry down. They do not want to have to compete with us. So people like me that build things that I don't know, I wouldn't go so far to say I'm an innovator, but I build things and I've done some interesting stuff. That probably, to the leftists, continues powering that principle that this country has been so successful. You know, which was the industry, the creativity that we have. So I guess in retrospect, I've never thought of it that way, because I'm just basically a little backyard, little garage, building this little goofy thing channel. But that must have been what they didn't like. Yeah, a white guy showing people how to build things. That is the danger that they saw in my channel. And they shut me down. And I am angry about that. You could say I'm pretty damn bitter about what they did. At the time they had done that, I noticed that my channel was going up, and I had bought a new computer so that I could do better editing, and I also bought a new camera so that I could do better filming. And I was trying to become a better filmmaker, because my recording quality, if you see any of my videos on that channel, they're pretty. Video quality is not at the top of my list. I throw that camera around, it's pretty rough to watch. Some people would get sick from the haphazard way I would just move that camera, grab it and move it here and move it there. It's certainly not how someone moves their head, and it's certainly not how people that are thinking about filming move a camera. They move it slowly and carefully, and there's some skill and some art that, anyway. But I digress. But that's what I have got to do, digress. So we are at Stagecoach Reservoir right now. We've ran along the side of it. You've caught a couple of glimpses of it. I'll switch subjects, probably dropping a lot of the threads that I didn't finish. I'll get back to them later or in another video. Stagecoach used to be a ski resort. In the 70s, it was being built. They were trying to compete with Steamboat. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether Steamboat bought them out, whether they ran out of money. The ski hill wasn't as nice as Steamboat. I have no idea why they weren't successful. But they weren't, and I think they've even taken all of the infrastructure down. So I kind of wonder if Steamboat didn't buy them out. But I don't know. I'm not a wealthy guy. I'm not privy to that stuff, and I don't really care about it for that matter. But Stagecoach had been developed enough. There were apartments here, and there was some infrastructure put in place, and so it's become a bedroom community. And it's very pretty. It's a really nice place, as you can see. We're out in the middle of the mountains. They've got a really pretty lake. It's a reservoir, but it's still a lake. There are cool places to see no matter what direction you drive. Out of this area. And now we're looking sort of at that hill at the back is the old ski hill. When I'm forgetting what this county road is. but it's typically pretty busy. A lot of people do live in Stagecoach. You know, while I'm here, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and film that. No big deal. You know, I do this while I'm working, my driving while I'm working, but my work is such that I don't have a real strict schedule. And in situations like this where I'm just completely blown off track today by those, there's no big deal. I can spend all day up there if I wanted to, come back, and then I just figure the time that I put in to the thing that I do separately from the time that I'm putting into this particular excursion. I guess that's a long way of saying that I'm actually fair to my employer. I'm not stealing from them. So Stagecoach has become a really pretty area to live. I don't like the traffic on this road. The work traffic is bad. It's like, you know, similar to coming from Hayden or Craig, or, you know, heading to Steamboat, because that's where that's where most people make their money, is in Steamboat. There are some really high-end properties out here, though. There are people here that don't need to drive into Steamboat to work, is what I'm saying. They probably don't have to go anywhere. Maybe they're trust fund kids. Maybe they've, you know, wealthy people that have escaped the city, and who can blame them? And they now live in this area. So we're kind of crossing over the Yampa River. It feeds into the reservoir right here. The Yampa River comes off of the flat tops, comes up from the flat tops, which is behind us. The flat tops are a real prominent feature of highway. Yeah, it's state highway 131. Which is sort of the main south road right directly out of Steamboat, which will get you to the interstate. It'll take you down where you can jump onto the Gore Pass. You could drive off on the other side of the road, get onto the little roads, get onto the flat tops, go down further, get on the trough road, go down further, get on I-70, and that's pretty much where that point it ends. But you might as well get a little tour, especially this time of year. This is really a nice time of year. The colors are changing. The clouds are beautiful. Everything is so nice here today. It hasn't exploded, though. It's going to explode and get gorgeous. Typically, it does that. It hasn't done that yet. However, it could tomorrow. So I'm taking advantage of, taking advantage of the day that I'm here, the time that I have. And if you like this and you're local and you can come up here in the fall, well, you'll have an idea of what it looks like and where to go. Windshield looks pretty good. Glad to see. I got a guy on my ass. He's in a big hurry. Good. He's gone. Shushmark. I believe this is where we want to go. Yeah. Shushmark. Yeah. So, Stagecoach was up here. You might be able to see there's some other runs up there, the bare spots on this hillside. It's a pretty big mountain, but it's not a huge mountain by any means. But what I'm bringing you up here to show you is the condos. There was a bunch of condos put up here in the 70s that were pretty damn cool. They are now aged and, you know, a little bit worn. They do what they can though to keep the place looking nice. They do put money into it to make the condos look pretty clean and nice. I believe that there are a lot of workers that live up here, people that want to live closer to Steamboat, live up in this area, like people that were living in Craig or maybe Hayden or maybe, you know, down 131. And a lot of retirees apparently moving up here, like I talked about. Some really, really wealthy, some maybe not. You can imagine we're in the Aspens right now. In a couple of weeks or whenever. It really depends on the temperature and the weather. And it can happen really fast. In fact, it's happening really fast right now. So the colder the nights are, the quicker the trees will change color. And the darker the days are, the quicker these leaves will change color. And the days have been dark lately. You know, it's been cloudy here, uncharacteristically cloudy the last week or so. And that's, I think, really brought the fall colors. It's just kicked them into high gear. I mean, we're moving towards that. We're not there yet, but we're moving that way. So here we go. I think these mountains are a mix of volcanic ridges and sedimentary lumps and piles of ash. Just for reference, it is such a dim day, the sun is shielded so much that I've got Google Maps on and it's in night mode. And that's been typical of the last few days. And I'll do what I can to have this camera ready to film the fall because it's so fleeting. I may miss it. I mean, I may miss I might hit it perfectly. It's rough. It's tough to say. But I'm not on the road every day. I don't do this 5 days a week. Luckily, thankfully, I don't need to. Just turn here. That little spur goes out a little further than stops. There's another batch of apartments there. So we're looking down at the reservoir. We just came from the other side of that reservoir, down that canyon. everything that you can see under that mountain. That is lake. We came from the right side of that. Again, kind of directly ahead of where we're at, or where we're looking directly. That's pretty much where we came from. Looks like these people are probably turistas also. I'll be run down here one more road. This is one of those areas that I think is still somewhat affordable for people that have a higher than normal income, but that it's not completely out of control. However, I haven't bothered looking at real estate prices for a long time. But there are one, two, three construction projects going on right now. That does say something. And there could be more happening here. The tall house is kind of like my house, similar sized, but my house is embedded down. My first floor is actually a basement. All right, I think that I probably better move on back out of here. A lot of these houses are definitely showing their age. I do like these apartments for what you can see of them. I think they're really cool. I don't know that they're that high quality, and I don't know that vertical glass. Well, it's looking north. Yeah. I don't know how energy efficient that vertical glass is or how annoying it is. It looks like if they're facing mainly north, sort of west. The ones that are facing more west could be pretty hot in the afternoon, because the afternoon sun around here is certainly intense. County Road 212. Okay. Hope you enjoyed our little detour. First on the Amber River, secondly through Stagecoach, and yeah, we will head up another little less known road. And work our way to Oak Creek. Actually, the road that we will finally turn towards Oak Creek on is Highway 131. But we've got, one more county road we need to get onto before we get to there. Now we might get some good flat tops views. I would really like to. I was told that it snowed, that flat tops got snow this weekend or last week. Recently, it's been cold. About the last week or so, it's been cold. That is, if we can even see the flat tops today. I can't tell. It's questionable. getting closer. So back onto County Road 14. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know if any of you watch anything that Tim Pool does, but Tim Pool's been around for a while. He's a pretty young guy. He's probably like 35-ish, maybe. Just guessing. But he's one of these people that I don't think he went to college, but he didn't need to go to college. He was already smart, you know. He became a reporter. He just started doing it, and he did a good job. And I think he was instrumental in setting up one of the companies, one of the internet age companies, media companies, can't think of the name of it, but it became a woke company. He got out of it. But he's worked for I believe a large media company in the past, but he's mainly done his own thing. I kind of started paying attention to him because he went to Venezuela and talked about what was going on there. And I was in Venezuela when the coup, well, what they call the coup, happened. That would have been in April of 2002. Yeah, I'm seeing some snow up there, little spots of snow. I don't see new snow though. Not that I would, but anyway, I guess I can speed up now. So I kind of watched him, you know, off and on for the years. And he started out kind of middle left, you know, kind of middle left. But not bad. I mean, you know, I was able to put up with him, and I'm certainly not middle left. Just, you know, a basic American conservative. I'm back, whatever. And I noticed that as the things that happened, especially over the last 6 or 7 years, 8 years, that he started changing. Of course, he's also that age. I mean, he was that age where in your 30s, it seems like it does kind of hit you. Reality seems to set in. Something happens. It's what happened in my 30s. Well, I see some new snow up there. Yeah, there is new snow up there. You may not be able to catch it, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to. It's up. Yeah, take my word for it. There's some new snow up there. Anyway, I noticed that he was getting less left-leaning, and then in 2020, he ended up being invited to the White House for a press conference, you know, where Trump spoke, and that was pretty cool to see Tim Pool, a guy who was just a regular guy, didn't go to college, but a smart guy, and I think actually a huge asset for him that he didn't go to college. And he didn't need to. He doesn't need to. The guy's smart. So he has continued going that direction, going to a conservative direction. Now, he may not see it or feel it, but I certainly have seen it. And I just feel like I've been there. That's why I guess I see it. And sometimes, you know, when you're at a distance, you can see, you know, the bigger perspective. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you can't really, you know, you're in the middle of it. You can't see the edges of it as well. And I listened to him over the weekend, and the things that I say on my channel about the left are pretty much exactly the things that he says about the left. And to add to that, the things that Jordan Peterson says about the left. Of course, he does it in his eloquent, college-educated style. I'm not making fun of him. He's actually educated, not indoctrinated. Although they're trying. They're taking him back and they're trying to re-educate him. Ridiculous. Anyway, his opinions, Tim Pool's opinions, line up really well, and my opinions line up with their opinions really well. And Steven Crowder, another one. And the thing that we all have in common is we are worried about what's happening in this world to freedom. We're worried about what's happening in this world concerning human rights. We're worried about what's happening in this world looking at the things that are being put in place by people in power that aren't as logical as they are evil. And we all comment on that. I get a couple hundred views. Tim Pool probably gets a couple 100,000 views. And Jordan Peterson probably gets a couple million views, along with Steven Crowder. He's probably up in that area too. I mean, they're all quite popular. But it's good to see that. And I like coming from a completely different direction, out in the middle of nowhere. You know, I don't mirror these people's age or anything. I come from a different background. However, the opinions the things that I'm understanding in this world are things that I believe are true, and over here, and things that are very, very much in common with what these guys I just mentioned talk about, and the people that they talk to and talk with. So anyway, you guys, I hope you like that little tour. I'm going to stop in here for a moment and I'll continue on. I may continue filming, but in case I don't, if you're going somewhere, drive careful, and I'll see you next time. Take care.